Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Gail Carson. Welcome to Living Regret Free, a program that shows you how to live a better and more joyful life. As an added bonus, I invite you to listen to an introduction to my Mindset Matters program, which ties into this so well. Go to www.sobmindset.com. It's free, and I know you will enjoy it. If you'd like to contact me personally, drop me a line at gailcarson13@gmail.com or go to my website, www.spunkyoldbroad.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Hi, everyone. This is Gail Carson, and I am with you for our Living Regret Free broadcast. And I think it's very interesting because we have such a wonderful guest with us today who is a transformational coach. And she's also a personal growth teacher and the author of The Journey from Anxiety to Peace: Practical Steps to Handle Fear, Embrace Struggle, and Eliminate Worry to Become Happy and Free. And we all know that we are going through so many things right now with the election and climate change and Black Lives Matter and the economy. So she's a perfect guest for today. And of course, her name is Jean Walters. So, Jean, tell us a little bit about, your journey. And, I have to ask you, it sounds simple, but I know it's not. What is the practical steps? What are the practical steps to go from a state of anxiety to a state of peace? Because I think everybody is in some form of anxiety today. I was talking to you earlier about a mastermind and group I run for not-for-profits, and every one of them is going through some kind of anxiety because they cannot do the fundraising they used to do. They can't, they can't get together for meetings. They're all running their organizations virtually. Some of them are not even here anymore. They're in other parts of the country still running the organizations that are here, but because they've decided to go other places for different reasons. I mean, everybody's in a state of flux. So
Yes.
give us those steps that will make a difference for us.
Well, honestly, if you want to look at the big umbrella that relates to releasing anxiety and moving into peace, we have to look at it from the mind, because the mind is what creates anxiety to begin with. Whether we're talking about looking at changing economy or changing presidents or a virus that's sweeping the nation or whatever it is, it's our opinion about it and the way we look at it. Now, in every challenge, there's an opportunity. And so we've not necessarily been trained to look for the opportunity in the challenge. But it's the same thing as, I think it was Gandhi who said, you never address a problem from the level of the problem, you want to go above it. So we always have a chance to reorder our mind. When we let ourselves sink into fear, then we've completely cut off any imagination or any intuition or any higher view of what's going on. And the truth of the matter is, we are completely changing right now. We are in a spiritual transformation. We are changing basically every system. We are ultimately going to learn how to be kinder people in the outcome, but there are things that are going to be going away and new things that are going to be coming into view for us. And it's because we're being asked to make a big shift of cleansing, releasing, and learning how to view life from another angle altogether.
So, I believe you, and I think what you're saying is absolutely true. What I'm concerned with is, people who are anxious and people who are depressed. Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult for me to identify with these people because I am not a depressed person. Right. Even though I've been self-isolating for over 37 weeks, I'm still not depressed. Luckily, I have 2 cats that keep me on track. And I'm so busy all day with all the things I do, I just don't have time to get depressed. But I even, for example, needed to get, I only have 4,000 miles on my car because I'm not going anywhere. But they called 6 months ago. They said, we need to do a recall on this and that. And I've just not done it because I didn't want to go to the dealership. So finally I said, I know I need to get this done. So I called yesterday, and believe it or not, they're going to come pick up the car, give
Wow.
me a loaner, do what they have to do. All I have to do is show them my license and my insurance. They'll bring the car back, and I will never have met with another person. So
Wow.
it just shows you, if you take the initiative, sometimes good things will happen. But there are people who are worry warts and
Mhm.
who do have a great deal of depression and anxiety.
Mhm.
So what's a way that you tell them to do something? What's the one
Yes.
strategy that's so different?
There's strategies. There's more than one strategy, but the strategies all involve the mind and where we place it. Now, you mentioned that you're busy all the time. You've got lots of projects. So, of course, your mind is very focused on your projects and the good that you're doing with those projects. And so that keeps you in a high energy state. It keeps you in a place of more joy and enthusiasm and peace. Whereas many people are sitting around ruminating endlessly about what they're afraid of, what could possibly happen, the what if that's going on, that's running through their mind. They need to take a hint from you and focus on what is it they want to accomplish. Where can you put your mind so that you can actually be creative? Now, one of the strategies that works for everybody is, and it takes you from fear to peace, is meditation. Learning how to go into a quieter place within. If we listen to the chatter mind, that's the ego mind, that's the fear based mind, if we listen to that endlessly, what we do is drag ourselves down into a what if mentality, and what if this happens and what if that happens. When we lift ourselves and we have the absolute capacity, the absolute ability to lift ourselves into a higher place, all we have to do that is, one, learn to meditate, get quiet. Secondly, go into gratitude. We have so much to be grateful for. I don't care if there's a pandemic going on or we're crazy about our elections or whatever, we still have so much to be grateful for. And a third element that people don't always think about is forgiveness. Let go of that which has troubled you and let yourself go into forgiveness, because this moment that we're in right now is a very short moment. We're only going to be hanging out in this moment for a second. And why fill it up with anything that is negative, anything that drags us down? So when you're holding grievances in your mind, you're keeping your mind in a very traumatic, troubled place. And the person or whoever it is you're holding grievances against is not suffering, you are. So we want to learn how to move our mind into a place of forgiveness, lightness, joy, to be able to put on a movie and laugh, to be able to do various things that will bring our mind up and up, higher, elevated, enlightened, into a place of greater joy. And it's not a hard thing to do, because we all have tons and tons of things to be grateful for. That's a quick answer from a
No,
whole.
but it's so funny because in my 3 Facebook Lives that I did this week, and in my newsletter that I sent out, I spoke about those two specific things, gratitude and forgiveness. It's amazing that you brought those up.
Mhm.
And the interesting thing is, I've always been grateful. I'm always grateful for
Oh,
lots of things that have happened in my life, but I wasn't always forgiving. And if somebody did me wrong, I carried that around with me, and I didn't necessarily plot how to get back at them, but my attitude towards them was not really healthy for
mhm.
me. And about 6 years ago, for some reason, I'm not sure if there was something that clicked in my mind or what, but all of a sudden I thought, I really need to learn to forgive. And so that is what I've practiced for the last six
Beautiful.
years is forgiveness. And what a weight it has taken off my shoulders. Now, the one thing I do not do very well is meditate. I'm not a meditator.
Mhm.
But what I do, and I also wrote about this today in my one of my Facebook posts, is that I at night, after 9 o'clock, I watch the Hallmark channels because everything is so happy. And right now they're
Yes.
doing holiday things, and I love it. And of course, I go to sleep with my two kitties. And the things that doctors tell you not to do is to watch TV before you go to bed and keep that blue light on, and don't ever sleep with your pets. And I do both of those things. And I go off to dreamland, and it's really wonderful. So
So
I just think it's interesting how,
yes, you mentioned a wonderful thing though, and I want to bring attention to it because you said you decided to watch the Hallmark Channel. You decided to let go of if people have this sense of watching cop shows or who shot who or things that are very heavy. This is not the time for that. By moving your attention to something lighthearted and frivolous and romantic and whatever, you put your mind into a higher space, into a higher vibrational level, and that is a huge thing for us to do. We need to give up a lot of the trauma drama, and with this recent election, I mean, it was like if you turn on television at all, it was constant bombardment of negative ads and so forth. And so we really have to be careful because our mind is ours and we have to put it where we want it to be. And when we allow somebody else to take over and just run all the negativity through us, like what illness do you have now, and what medication are you supposed to be taking, and who shot who, and so forth. All we're doing is we're just giving in to something that is not helping us and is not healthy for us. So I give kudos to you for making that switch.
Well, thank you. But it does seem like everybody is miserable right now about one thing or another. They may not be miserable about the same things, but they're not happy campers. In fact, I just I delivered some food, not food, but I'm getting food from my favorite restaurant, and there was something in there that I didn't really want. And so I brought it to her, a neighbor, and she said, I don't like to go out because people always have something to say. And she was talking about the fact that when she gets into an elevator in our building, because we only allow two people in the elevator and everybody has to be masked, that people say something to her when she doesn't have her mask on, even though she's carrying it. And I said to her, even though I adore her and she's been wonderful to me, I said, well, I would tell you the same thing. I've told 3 people in the last 2 weeks to get off the elevator because they didn't have a mask on, because I'm immune compromised. So the whole point is, I said, but I've been nice about it. I just said, do you have a mask? And if they say no, then I say, would you mind getting off the elevator? And they've done it. I mean, they haven't been upset. They've just done it. And some people, when they see me, I must look old and decrepit, when they see me in the elevator and they don't have the proper, the mask and so forth, they'll say, I'll wait. And they take another elevator. So it's interesting how, everybody is kind of facing a dilemma one way or the other, whether it's mask wearing or a favorite place or their place of work being closed or, whatever happens to be. People are anxious and, they're miserable. And especially I feel really badly for those moms, because it's usually the mom, not the dad, who can't go back to work either because their place is closed or because they're working at home, and now they've got the kids to still virtually teach because the school's open, they close, they open, they close. So it's tough.
Well, you know what? The thing about it is, and I hope that people will actually buy the book, because in the book there are many techniques and practices that you can do to really move your mind into a happier place, into a higher level of energy. And it's all energy, Dr. Carson, is all energy. So where we have absolute dominion over where we put our mind. So one of the things that really can interfere with just being in a peaceful place is a sense of victimhood. And if we're addressing this time period from that point of view, we're going to be pretty miserable. But if we're recognizing that something else is going on here, yes, there's a virus, but there's a lot of other things that are going on too. I mean, there's a lot of change happening that can be very exciting. Change is how we grow. And so if we begin to look at all the ways that we're we can be kind. You mentioned a lot of non-for-profits. These are all opportunities for us to be kind and generous and thoughtful and think about other people beyond our own small self. And all of these things help us. They help. The giver is the person that gets the most out of what they give. So when we expand ourselves into more of a state of mind where we are seeing not only our gifts, but we're giving them away to other people, what happens is something comes back to us that's even greater than what we started with. So it's about energy, but it's about focus, and it's about intention, and it's about practicing new things, new ways, so that we can actually move from fear to love. I mentioned in my book that my mom was, I mean, if you talk about worry wart, I mean, I don't know. I always told her that she won the prize. She was an Olympic warrior, that she could make a hangnail into cancer, and she just fretted over everything. And I realized this is really what got me started, as I realized how miserable she was and how much she was really not tasting the nectar of life, as it were. And I realized, and I used to try to talk her out of it all the time, like, well, think about it this way. Well, what about that? and she wasn't going to buy it. But what it did for me was it helped me realize that I have to find another way. And that's what I've done. And I've done it with this book, but I've also do it with my clients every day. What's another way we can look at this, and what can you draw from this situation that can make you better? These are some important questions that every one of us can ask.
Absolutely. And I know that in your book, The Journey from Anxiety to Peace, you also bring up panic attacks.
Yes.
And I don't, I've never having experienced one, I can't comment on it, but what exactly is a panic attack, and can someone manage it, and can they get rid of them?
Yes, yes, and yes. The panic attacks are so debilitating, and when people get into a panic attack, their mind freezes and they're completely in fear, and they're actually debilitated. So one of the things that happens with a panic attack is that person's mind is in the future or in the past. They're not in the present moment. And that's why they're in panic, because they have no control over what's already happened, and they have no control over what's going to happen. And so they're not in the moment, and they can't manage anything. And that's exactly what a panic attack is. So the first thing you have to do is, one, recognize that you're in a panic attack, and two, then bring yourself down to the present moment. Bring yourself into the moment where you can actually feel your body. You can actually feel where, if you're sitting in a chair, you can feel the texture of the chair. You can begin to breathe in this moment and become very tactile, because that will draw your attention back to the moment. Think only of one thing, like breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. As you do that, you calm down. And also, because your mind now is focused in the present, you have some ability to do something. You can get out of the chair, you can go outside, you can begin to function again. But the thing is that we have to teach ourselves how to keep ourselves in the moment, so they're not trying to do what if this and what if this. Well, there's a lot of what ifs. We don't know what if, but we also know that we're constantly being blessed. And so the panic attack is to kind of alert you to go, where are you right now? Come back to the present moment. And then when people practice it on and on, each time something happens, they begin to remember to breathe, remember to be in the present moment, remember to be very tactile with where they are. Then they can manage them. They can actually let go of panic attacks, and just let go and be in a much more stable place.
It's funny that you say that, because I'm trying to imagine myself in the middle of these attacks. To remember to do any of those things would be difficult. Mm-hmm. But as you say, the more you go through them and the more you practice this,
yes,
it becomes kind of natural to you. But I would think in the beginning, it would be extremely difficult to do something like that. But there's another word that has just been around for the last 2, 3 years, and we in the speaking profession use it a lot. And that is, and even in the coaching profession, we say we have to be authentic. So authenticity is a word that people use a lot, and they say that if you want to be successful, and we do know this is a frightening thing to say, but we do know that there is no new normal. There's just new. Nothing is going back to the way it was. So authenticity is so important. So tell us in your definition exactly what it is, and how do you know if you are being authentic?
Well, first of all, I think in our culture particularly, we don't give a lot of attention to authenticity. But if you look at your life and ask yourself, am I comfortable in my life? Am I doing the things that I love to do? Am I forcing myself to go to work every day and doing something I don't enjoy? That's the difference between being authentic and inauthentic, because oftentimes we're encouraged to do something to make a lot of money rather than to do something that really resonates to our soul. So just one little example was a fellow that came to me, and he wasn't happy in his work. And I said, well, when were you the happiest? And he said, I liked the idea of being a cowboy when I was a kid. And I said, well, what was it about being a cowboy that you loved? And he said, I love being outside. I like riding the open range, with my bicycle. And I said, okay, well, how can we translate that to the present moment? And what he realized is that he loved working outside in the yard. He created a lawn business. He took care of people's lawns. He rode a lawnmower, and that was his new riding the range. And so he found a way that he could translate what he loved to the present moment. And that's what authenticity is about. It's not shoving yourself into an activity that you don't enjoy and you don't find, because you're not really blessing anybody with that, and you're certainly not helping yourself. So we want to get in touch with who we are. And if there's an artist there, then find a way to be an artist. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it full time, but find a way that you can express. And I'm talking about really express that which you truly are, because that is how you're going to bless the world and yourself.
That's so funny, because last night I was part of a mastermind group, and we were supposed to be kind of giving ourselves a word. And we went into breakout sessions, and one of the women there said, well, I am a CEO. That's who I am. I am a CEO. And when it came to me, I said, well, I am a performer. I've been on stage since I was 3, and I am a performer. You could stick me anywhere and tell me to talk about something, and I'll talk about it for an hour. So, it's so funny. But I do want to get to your contact information, because we're almost at the close, believe it or not, of the show. And I want to make sure that we talk about how people can reach you. So what is the best way to reach you? I don't know if you have a gift for anybody. What's the best way for people?
I would love to give a gift.
Oh, fantastic. Go ahead.
Okay, so you can reach me at Jean, Jean, at spiritualtransformation.com. That's Jean, Jean, at spiritualtransformation.com. That's my email address, and my website is spiritualtransformation.com. So what I'd like to give away is 3 chapters of this book, and I think you'll find great value in going through the exercises that are in the book, and it will help you make a switch in your mind and in your life. And so if you contact me at that address and tell me that you'd like to get the book, I would be happy to send it to those 3 chapters to you. And it would be my blessing to share that with you.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, folks, as far as I'm concerned, I'd love for you to go to my YouTube Spunky Old Broad channel and sign up, because we'd love to have you take advantage of what we have there. So I would ask you to do that. And of course, you can go to my website, spunkyoldbroad.com, and always find the programs that I have and the things that we have in our store, like our our hoodies and our t-shirts and our leggings, as well as some of the other great sayings on my coffee cups and things like that. So, Jean, we've got about just 1 minute left. What have we not told our listening audience that you think is important for them to know?
I think it's important that they understand that they're not victims, that everything that's going on is to help them. And it's up to them to look for what that help really is, how their life is to change, and how they are to grow right now. We're only in the earth to grow, to expand, to be more than what we came in to be. So I'm encouraging people to understand that part. And I also thought it might be kind of fun to buy your funky old broad sweatshirts or t-shirts for the guys in your life. Wouldn't that be fun for Christmas?
That's interesting. Yeah, yeah, right. Well, I want to thank you for being with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure and delight. And remember, her book is The Journey from Anxiety to Peace, Practical Steps to Handle Fear, Embrace Struggle, and Eliminate Worry to Become Happy and Free. Thanks so much for being with us, Jean.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Gail.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. I choose my guests carefully, so if you have someone you'd like me to interview, please drop me a line at gailcarson13@gmail.com. In the meantime, check out my intro program, Mindset Matters, at www.sobmindset.com. See you next week.